Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Normal Guy of the North here. Today we're diving deep, literally, into a very unique Tier 6 British submarine that doesn't quite play like any of the others. It's sneaky, it's persistent, and if you're not careful, it'll most likely come up to periscope depth behind you and finish the job with a bunch of torpedoes from behind. Let's talk about HMS Undine, I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly, and why she might be one of the most surprising subs you'll ever play in World of Warships. HMS Undine was a real British U-class submarine commissioned late 1930s. She was designed for short-range coastal patrols and carried 6 forward torpedo tubes and a 76mm deck gun. Unfortunately, she had a very short-lived wartime career. Undine was sunk by a German minesweeper in 1940, just months into the war. In World of Warships, she gets a second chance, and while she's not super sub, her gameplay brings a unique twist that rewards daring positioning, quick strikes, and aggressive finishes. Okay, let's get into the heart of what makes Undine tick. It's obviously her weapons. She's armed with 6 bow-mounted homing torpedo tubes. The Tier 6s don't have non-acoustic anymore, non-homing torpedoes. That's now gone, which I really miss in U69. These torpedoes have a solid 10K range and just reload in 45 seconds, however, only 3 tubes at a time. So total reload time is actually be 90 seconds for all 6 tubes. They deal just over 6,200 damage each, which isn't massive, but that's by design. Undine isn't about alpha strikes, she's about sustained pressure. You'll be launching torpedo spreads repeatedly, forcing the enemies to consistently and constantly maneuver, fly damage control, play on your terms. You become basically a thorn in the side or bloody annoying. Because all our torpedoes are bow mounted, positioning is everything. You'll need to maintain forward angles on your targets and keep your firing arcs open. There's no rear torpedo option, so once you've committed to an attack run, you're all in. So no donuts for this boat. Alright, let's talk about her secondary armament. She has a 76mm deck gun that fires SAP, and here's the catch, you don't control it manually. It's AI operated, with a 4km range and a 5-second reload. It may not seem like much, but it can be surprisingly useful. The AI will automatically fire it when surfaced and within range of the enemy. While it won't carry a fight on its own, this gun can absolutely finish off a low-health destroyer or cruiser, especially after a well-placed torpedo strike. It also adds a layer of threat when you surface behind a distracted opponent. They think you're defenseless, and suddenly they're eating shells. But where Undine really pulls ahead is her battery endurance. The British line is unreal. She boasts over 5 minutes of underwater dive time, thanks to her large dive capacity of over 300 base units. That's one of the best in her tier. It allows you to stay submerged longer, reposition more safely, and avoid surface threats while planning your next strike. That long battery life is what gives you freedom. Freedom to hide, freedom to shadow enemy movements, and freedom to pick exactly when and where you strike. It's not about brute force, it's about outlasting and outmaneuvering and withering them down. That's why people hate subs. Hey everyone, so I'm going to change it up a bit here and we got into the captain skill. People have asked me to take screenshots or whatnot. I'm going to go back to the old format a bit, but I'm going to explain it a little bit more slowly. Let me know in the comments if you guys like this. It's important to me. So right off the bat, I take minor modifications. You guys and girls know I do that all the time. It just makes life easier in a submarine. Now here I do take engine room protection because your engine room, you certainly can lose things, including your engine room. Now I do this one. I just take the dive capacity. It's an extra 10% dive capacity, rates per second when you want to recharge it. You can, if you really want to, take submarine surveillance, but that's resources. I don't particularly want to spend that. Was it 17,000 coal in a Tier 6 submarine? I don't normally play, if I'm being honest. And of course, then there's the steering gear, submarine steering gears, minus 50% rudder shift time, and of course, diving plane time, minus 50%. I think this is extremely important. What do you get here? Well, you get yourself a damage control party. It's 15.8 seconds. It cools down in 48 seconds, which is pretty good. You get 3 of them. You do have hydrophone. It's only a 6km range. It cools down every 21 seconds, which is pretty cool for this boat. I use this a lot against destroyers and cruisers. Like, I mean, all the time with this boat. Then, of course, you got submarine surveillance. It's only 6 kilometers. The preparation time, again, I didn't get it down, is in a couple minutes range. The cooldown time is 87 seconds. It's usually good for mid to late games if you're playing against submarines. But only if you're playing against yourself. If you're playing against the Russians and Germans, you're SOL. Now, the flags that are important for me, of course, are Juliet Whiskey. It's a plus 15% flooding time. Then, of course, next one that's important to me is Sierra Mike. That gives me a plus 5% for speed. Next one for me, it's important, is X-Ray Papa. Why? Dive capacity, an extra plus 5%. And of course, the last one is Sierra Bravo. This does for hydrophone, submarine surveillance. It gets them back up and ring 10% quicker. Also hydroacoustic, plus 10% long lashes. So it's a good overall skill as far as I'm concerned. Now, captain skills, yes, I'm using Cunningham, but for me, I do take Liquidator, plus 30% flood chance. I do take Helmsman because of the hydrophone. I'm an aggressive player, so when I come to the surface, I usually hit that, and if I make a boop-boop, I want to get out of there as quick as possible. And of course, I take priority target. The next one for me is always going to be preventive maintenance. That's always important to me to actually keep my things and gears up running. Then you guys know I start taking consumable enhancements, plus 5% for all my consumables. Then, of course, I'm going to take consumable specialist at tier 3, 15% reduction in getting my consumables back up running again. I take watchful. It is without a doubt the most useful skill that's actually out there. And of course, I take adrenaline rush because that's important to me because you're always going to lose HP. And of course, I take enlarged propeller shaft. It gives you an extra plus 15% speed boost when you're less than 50%. And I'm always down there. Now, Undine isn't built to take a hit. She's got just around 10,000 hit points. The hull armor is between 19 and 25 millimeters. Any serious hit, especially when surface, is going to hurt. This is not a tanky submarine at all. But where she shines is stealth and endurance. Her dive capacity sits at a healthy 300 units base, giving you more time underwater, over 5 minutes, to reposition to wait longer. Use her stealth to approach undetecting targets. Ping carefully to avoid giving away your position, and pick your moments to surface and strike. Now let's talk about her mobility. On the surface, base Undine maxes out at 20 knots. I've got up to 21 and change, like just over 21, and drops to 16 knots submerged. Her turning circle is tight at 410 meters with a rudder shift time of 5.9 seconds, which makes her feel a bit sluggish when you need to change directions fast. Her dive plane shift time is over 9 seconds, which means she's not great in dodging depth charges or quickly changing depth on the fly. So position is everything. Plan your runs, stay unpredictable, don't get cornered, pay attention to the mini-map with her. Undine plays like a British submarine should. Close range, aggressive, and tactical. She thrives when you shadow enemy formations, set up smart ambushes, launch torpedo strikes, and then finish the job with her cheeky little deck gun if you want. But she struggles if you try to trade damage. You'll need to play like a hunter. Stalk your prey, hitting from cover, knowing when to go dark. You're not here to alpha strike battleships from 12 kilometers away. You're here to bleed them and with a steady stream of torpedoes, and maybe finish them off with a little surprise deck gun if you want, or staying underwater. Let's summarize the good and the bad. So what the pros? Well, 6 bow tubes with short reload. No donut required. Just a little school bus beep, beep, beep as you keep going in reverse. Reliable 10K acoustic torpedoes that are actually homing. Excellent underwater endurance, and I mean excellent. She also has a unique 76mm deck gun for surface combat. And of course, British-style stealthy and surgical play. Now cons, well, low hit points and weak armor right off the bat. Sluggish mobility and handling. Requires patience and careful planning. No rear torpedo tubes or reserve battery. She's definitely a specialist, not a brawler. So, is HMS Undine worth adding to your port? Well, if you enjoy calculated submarine gameplay where patience, positioning, and finesse matter more than just raw alpha, then absolutely yes, she does. She won't win every duel, but she will win the mind games. And when you surface right behind an enemy cruiser, guns ablazing and torps reloading, you know exactly why Undine stands out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the review, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what submarine you want me to cover next. Until next time, as always, stay safe. Wish you all the best. Bye for now.